First contact, the Galactic Academy. The vast halls of the Galactic Academy hummed with an array of alien sounds, chirps, clicks, and warbles echoing off the iridescent walls. Students of all shapes, sizes, and consistencies moved through the corridors, each encased in their own atmospheric bubble to accommodate their unique physiological needs. Amidst this cosmic cacophony, Professor Zilks, a towering cephalopod-like being with shimmering tentacles and multifaceted eyes, nervously adjusted the controls on his hover podium. Today was no ordinary day at the Academy. For the first time in galactic history, a representative of a newly discovered species would be joining their ranks. "Attention, class," Zilks's voice reverberated through the room, instantly silencing the chatter. "As you're all aware, unless you've been hibernating in a quantum singularity, we've recently made contact with a new spacefaring species." A ripple of excitement passed through the classroom. Some students leaned forward in anticipation, while others instinctively activated their defensive mechanisms. "They call themselves humans," Zilks continued, his tentacles twirling in what passed for a nervous gesture among his kind. "And apparently, they hail from a planet called Earth. Now, before you all start panicking." Too late. The room erupted into chaos. Glupnak, a gelatinous student, quivered so violently it nearly split in two. Kyrex, an energy being, flickered erratically, causing the room's gravity generators to hiccup. Even Blawbacks, the usually unflappable gas cloud, condensed into a tight, anxious ball. "Oh, come now," Zilks shouted over the commotion. "You think I just announced we're all going to be subjected to a black holes event horizon, which, by the way, is not on this year's curriculum. Probably." As the class slowly regained its composure, a tentative appendage rose from the back of the room. It belonged to Zorp, a timid splorpodian known for his nervous ink squirting. "Professor," Zorp stammered, his chromatophores flashing a panicked pattern of colors. "Aren't humans dangerous? I heard they come from a Deathworld." Zilks rolled all 12 of his eyes simultaneously, a feat that never failed to impress and slightly nauseate his students. "Oh please, Deathworld is such a dramatic term. So their planet has a few measly natural disasters, some mildly toxic flora, and the occasional predator. Big deal. I'm sure they're perfectly, mostly, somewhat safe." Just then, the classroom door slid open with a hiss, revealing a figure that made every alien student freeze in terror. There, standing awkwardly in the doorway, was a human. "Ah, speak of the Vornak," Zilks exclaimed, then quickly added, "Not that you're a Vornak. At least I don't think so. Are you?" The human, a young female named Sarah Chen, stepped into the room. Her eyes widened as she took in the menagerie of alien life forms before her. No, not a Vornak. Just a regular human. Hi, everyone." The silence that followed was so profound that you could have heard a pin drop, if, of course, anyone in the room actually knew what a pin was. Zilks, ever the diplomat, decided to break the ice. "Well, don't just float there gawking like a bunch of Betelgeusian mooncows. Introduce yourselves to our new classmate. Sarah, why don't you tell us a bit about yourself and your charming little home world?" Sarah, still a bit shell-shocked, cleared her throat. "Well, I'm from Earth, as you mentioned. It's, pretty nice, actually. We've got oceans, mountains, forests." "Fascinating," Zilks interrupted, "but what we really want to know is, how many times have you nearly died today?" Sarah blinked in confusion. "I'm sorry, what?" "You know, near-death experiences. Volcanic eruptions, earthquakes, rabid predators trying to eat you. That sort of thing." None," Sarah replied, bemused. "I mean, I stubbed my toe this morning, if that counts." A collective gasp echoed through the classroom. Glupnak, unable to contain its curiosity, burbled out a question. "You mean you voluntarily inflict pain upon yourself? How positively barbaric." Sarah couldn't help but laugh. No, it was an accident. Look, Earth isn't nearly as dangerous as you all seem to think. Sure, we have some natural disasters, but they're not exactly a daily occurrence. Perhaps that's the being pulsed curiously. But what about the predators? Surely you must constantly be fleeing for your life. Well, Sarah pondered, I did run away from a spider in my bathroom this morning. Does that count? The class erupted into a frenzy of excited chatter. Zilt had to fire off a warning blast from his ink glands to restore order. All right, settle down. Sarah, please take a seat. Try not to crush anyone on your way there. As Sarah made her way to an empty desk, the other students instinctively recoiled. She couldn't help but feel a bit like a circus freak. Now then, Zilt continued, let's get on with today's lesson. We'll be studying interstellar diplomacy, which, given recent events, seems rather timely. Sarah, since you are a resident expert on humans, perhaps you'd like to share how your species typically greets new life forms. Sarah, caught off guard, fumbled for an answer. Well, I guess we usually start with hello and a handshake. A handshake? Zorp inquired, his tentacles trembling. You mean you grab onto each other and vibrate violently? No. Sarah laughed, standing up to demonstrate. It's just a gentle up and down motion with your hand. Like this. She extended her hand towards Zilk's. The professor, to his credit, only hesitated for a moment before extending a tentacle. As their appendages met, a spark of static electricity crackled between them. Zilk's yelped, instinctively releasing a cloud of ink that filled his atmospheric bubble. Great galaxies, she's attacking with some sort of bioelectric discharge. The classroom descended into pandemonium once again. Students scurried, floated, and oozed away from Sarah in terror. Alarms blared as the Academy's defense systems activated, mistaking the commotion for an attack. In the midst of the chaos, Sarah stood bewildered, her hand still extended in greeting. She couldn't help but wonder if perhaps she should have paid more attention during her Galactic etiquette briefing back on Earth. As the emergency containment fields shimmered into place around her, Sarah sighed. It was going to be a long semester at the Galactic Academy. Little did Sarah, or any of her alien classmates, know that this chaotic first encounter was just the beginning of an adventure that would challenge their preconceptions, forge unlikely friendships, and ultimately change the course of galactic history. For now, though, Sarah had a more pressing concern, figuring out how to convince everyone that she wasn't a walking biohazard before the decontamination drones arrived. Welcome to Galactic Academy 101, Human Integration. Class was most definitely in session. Cultural clashes and unexpected allies. Sarah Chen's first week at the Galactic Academy had been, to put it mildly, an adventure in interstellar misunderstandings. After the initial chaos of her arrival, things had settled into a strange new normal. Her classmates no longer fled in terror at the sight of her, but their wary glances and whispered theories about human biology were hard to ignore. As Sarah made her way to the Academy's central atrium, she couldn't help but feel a twinge of homesickness. The swirling nebula visible through the dome above was breathtaking, but it only served to remind her how far she was from Earth. Greetings, Sarah of Earth. Your epidermal layer appears less alarming today. Have your toxic secretions finally ceased? Sarah turned to see Zorp, the timid Splorpodian, approaching her. His tentacles were coiled tightly, a sign she had learned indicated nervousness. Hi, Zorp, Sarah sighed. For the 100th time, humans don't secrete toxins. That was just static electricity, remember? Zorp's chromatophores flashed a pattern that Sarah interpreted as embarrassment. Ah, yes. My apologies. It's just that Professor Zilks was quite adamant about the dangers of human bioelectricity. Sarah rolled her eyes. Professor Zilks seems adamant about a lot of things that aren't true. Did you know he tried to convince the class that humans hibernate for half the year? Their conversation was interrupted by a commotion near the atrium's center. A crowd had gathered around the quantum probability generator, a device used to randomize class schedules and assignments. Oh no. Zorp burbled, his color shifting to a worried mauve. It's malfunctioning again. This is terrible. Without it, the entire Academy's curriculum will fall into chaos. Sarah watched as various alien professors waved appendages and tentacles over the machine, arguing in a cacophony of clicks, whistles, and pheromone bursts. None of their efforts seemed to be having any effect. Have they tried turning it off and on again? Sarah muttered, more to herself than to Zorp. Zorp's eye stalks swiveled towards her. What strange incantation do you speak, human? Is this some sort of earth magic? Sarah blinked, then laughed. No, it's just a basic troubleshooting step. You know, restart the machine. Before Zorp could respond, Sarah was already making her way towards the malfunctioning device. The crowd of aliens parted before her, a mixture of fear and curiosity in their multifaceted eyes. Excuse me, Sarah called out, trying to get the attention of the flustered professors. Have you tried cycling the power? Professor Zilks, his tentacles tied in literal knots from stress, turned to face her. Cycle though? What? Human, this is hardly the time for your barbaric earth sports. Sarah took a deep breath, reminding herself that patience was key in interspecies communication. No, I mean turn it off. Wait a moment, then turn it back on. It often fixes tech problems on Earth. The gathered aliens exchanged skeptical looks. Whispers rippled through the crowd about primitive human solutions and potential sabotage. Finally, a crystalline being that Sarah recognized as the head of the technology department chimed in, then a voice like tinkling glass. Well, we've tried everything else. What harm could it do? With trepidation, they approached the quantum probability generator and located what appeared to be a power crystal. With a melodious hum, they extracted it, waited for a count of 10, then reinserted it. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, with a whir and a flash of quantum energy, the machine sprang back to life. Holographic schedules burst into existence above it, swirling in a dazzling display of temporal organization. The atrium erupted in a cacophony of alien cheers, each species expressing joy in their own unique way. Zorp, who had inched closer during the proceedings, was so excited he accidentally squirted a jet of celebratory ink, narrowly missing a group of Cassius students. Professor Zilks, his tentacles slowly unknotting themselves, approached Sarah with what she hoped was an impressed look. It was hard to tell with cephalopods. Well, I must say, Sarah, that was unexpectedly effective. Perhaps there's more to human problem-solving than we initially thought. Sarah beamed, feeling for the first time since her arrival that she might actually belong here. Thanks, Professor. Sometimes the simplest solutions are the best, even in advanced civilizations. As the excitement died down and students began dispersing to their newly scheduled classes, Sarah found herself surrounded by curious classmates. Questions poured in from all sides. How did you know that would work? Are all humans secret tech wizards? Can you teach us more Earth magic? Sarah laughed, holding up her hands to stem the tide of inquiries. It's not magic, really. Humans are just good at improvising and thinking outside the box. We have to be, given our planet's challenges. Axorex, the energy being, pulsed thoughtfully. Perhaps we've been too quick to judge Earth as merely a death world. Any species that can survive such conditions and still develop problem-solving skills must be more resilient than we imagined. As Sarah began explaining the basics of human troubleshooting to her rapt audience, she didn't notice Professor Zilks watching from a distance, a contemplative look in his many eyes. Later that day, as Sarah was leaving her comparative xenobiology class, where she had once again had to insist that humans did not, in fact, have retractable claws, she was surprised to find Zorp waiting for her. Sarah of Earth, he began, his chromatophores cycling through nervous patterns. I was wondering if you might assist me with a personal matter. You see, my atmospheric regulator has been acting up, and after your display with a quantum probability generator, I thought perhaps. Sarah smiled warmly. Of course, Zorp. I'd be happy to take a look. And please, just call me Sarah." As they walked together towards the dormitories, Sarah explaining the concept of percussive maintenance to a fascinated Zorp, she felt a growing sense of acceptance. Maybe, just maybe, she was starting to find her place in this bizarre, wonderful galactic community. What Sarah didn't realize was that her simple act of restarting a machine had set in motion a chain of events that would soon test not only her problem-solving skills, but the very foundations of human-alien relations. The Galactic Academy was about to face a crisis that would require the unique perspectives of all its students, human and alien alike. But for now, Sarah was content to bask in the glow of her small victory, unaware of the challenges that lay ahead. As she and Zorp rounded a corner, she caught a glimpse of the swirling galaxy outside the Academy's windows and felt, for the first time, a sense of true belonging among the stars, the cosmic field trip. The excitement was palpable as the students of the Galactic Academy boarded the interstellar field trip vessel. Their destination, Nexus 9, a newly discovered planet known for its volatile atmosphere and unpredictable gravitational fluctuations. For most of the alien students, it was a thrilling but controlled adventure. For Sarah Chen, the lone human, it was Tuesday. "Remember, class," Professor Zilks's voice echoed through the ship's communication system, "this is purely an observational mission. Under no circumstances are we to land on Nexus 9's surface." Sarah couldn't help but grin as she secured herself in her seat next to Zorp. Her splorpodian friend's tentacles were tied in nervous knots. "Relax, Zorp," she whispered. "It's just a little field trip." As the ship entered Nexus 9's upper atmosphere, alarms suddenly blared. The vessel shuddered violently, caught in an unexpected gravitational eddy. Stabilizers failing. The crystalline pilot shined in panic. "We're being pulled towards the surface." In the chaos that ensued, Sarah's mind raced. Earth's survival instincts kicked in as she unbuckled herself and made her way to the ship's control panel. "What are you doing, human?" Professor Zilks demanded, his tentacles flailing in distress. "Improvising," Sarah replied, her fingers flying over the alien controls. "On Earth, we have something called skipping stones. If we angle the ship just right." With a series of precise adjustments, Sarah guided the ship into a controlled bounce off the planet's upper atmosphere. The vessel skipped like a stone across water, using the planet's own gravitational fluctuations to slingshot them back into stable orbit. As the alarms quieted and the ship steadied, a stunned silence fell over the crew. It was broken by Cyrex, the energy being, who pulsed brightly in amazement. Incredible. The human used the planet's chaotic nature against itself. Professor Zilks, his many eyes wide with astonishment, floated over to Sarah. I must admit, that was quite impressive, Sarah. Perhaps there's more to learn from Earth's Deathworld experiences than we realized." As the field trip continued, now from a safe distance, Sarah found herself surrounded by curious classmates. The near disaster had broken down barriers, and alien students eagerly sought her insights on adaptability and quick thinking. Zorp, his chromatophores glowing with admiration, summed it up best. "Sarah, I think we've all misjudged humans. You're not just survivors of a death world, you're innovators because of it." As the Galactic Academy ship made its way home, Sarah realized that this field trip had done more than just show them a new planet. It had opened new horizons of understanding between species, with humanity's unique perspectives leading the way. Little did they know, this adventure was just the beginning of how human ingenuity would shape their galactic future. Galactic threats and human ingenuity. The Galactic Academy buzzed with tension. News had spread of an impending attack by the Void Collective, a notorious group of space pirates known for targeting centers of knowledge across the galaxy. As emergency protocols activated and panic set in, Sarah Chen found herself at the center of attention once again. "Sarah of Earth," Professor Zilks's voice crackled over the Academy's comm system. "Report to the Defense Center immediately." Sarah rushed through the holographic corridors, dodging frightened alien students. she arrived to find the Academy's leaders in disarray. The Void Collective has disabled our shield generators, a crystalline administrator chimed anxiously. Our weapons are useless without them. Sarah's mind raced, recalling Earth's history of warfare and defense. What if we don't need weapons? She suggested. On Earth we have a saying, the best defense is a good offense. Confused alien eyes turned to her. Sarah quickly explained her plan, drawing from human strategies and the unique abilities of her alien classmates. Hours later, as the Void Collective's ships approached, they were met not with traditional defenses, but with a bizarre and ingenious counterattack. Zorp and his fellow Splorpodians create a massive ink cloud in space, obscuring the pirates' vision. Axorex and other energy beings generated electromagnetic pulses, disrupting the attackers' navigation systems. Glupnek's gelatinous species formed a thick, sticky barrier around the Academy, trapping smaller enemy vessels. Sarah coordinated it all, applying Earth tactics to alien abilities in ways the Void Collective never anticipated. As the pirate fleet retreated in confusion, cheers erupted throughout the Academy. Professor Zilks approached Sarah, his tentacles curled in what she now recognized as a gesture of respect. Sarah, he said, your human ingenuity has saved us all. Perhaps it's time we reconsidered humanity's role in galactic affairs. The victory celebration was cut short as an urgent transmission came through. The Galactic Council, impressed by reports of the Academy's defense, requested an immediate audience with the human who had made it all possible. As Sarah prepared to address the council, she realized that her adventures at the Galactic Academy had been more than just a learning experience. They were the beginning of humanity's true introduction to the galactic community. With a deep breath, she stepped forward, ready to represent Earth and show the galaxy what humans were truly capable of: graduation and new horizons. The Grand Hall of the Galactic Council shimmered with holographic displays and pulsed with the collective energy of 1,000 different species. At its center stood Sarah Chen, the first human to ever address this august body. Her journey from bewildered exchange student to galactic diplomat had been as unexpected as it was extraordinary. Esteemed members of the council, Sarah began, her voice steady despite her nerves. I come before you not just as a representative of Earth, but as a student of the universe. As Sarah spoke of her experiences at the Galactic Academy, the challenges faced, and the friendships forged, the council members listened with rapt attention. She emphasized the unique perspective that humans could bring to the galactic community, their adaptability, creativity, and resilience born from Earth's diverse and sometimes harsh conditions. We may come from what you call a death world, Sarah continued, but that world has taught us to innovate, to persevere, and to see possibilities where others might see only obstacles. The council chambers erupted in a cacophony of alien discussions. Some were enthusiastic, others cautious, but all were intrigued. After what seemed like an eternity, the Grand Arbiter, a being of pure light and cosmic wisdom, spoke. Sarah Chen of Earth, your words and actions have given us much to consider. It is the decision of this council that humanity be granted full membership in the Galactic Federation, with all the rights and responsibilities it entails. Cheers echoed through the chamber, led by Sarah's classmates who had been permitted to attend this historic moment. Zorp's tentacles waved excitedly, Kyterex pulsed with joyous energy, and even Professor Zilks's many eyes glistened with what might have been tears, or possibly just excess eye fluid. Sarah was still learning alien biology. As the formal ceremony concluded, Sarah found herself surrounded by a mix of council members and her academy friends. The air buzzed with plans for cultural exchanges, technological collaborations, and interstellar research projects. Sarah, Zorp burbled happily, does this mean more humans will be coming to the Academy? Sarah grinned. Not just the Academy, Zorp. I think this is the beginning of a whole new era of human-alien cooperation. Professor Zilks floated over, his tentacles forming the cephalopodian gesture of pride. Indeed it is. And to think, it all started with a simple misunderstanding about handshakes and static electricity. As laughter rippled through the group, Sarah's gaze drifted to the holographic display of the galaxy. Earth, once a tiny, isolated speck, now shone brightly as a new member of the galactic community. The future stretched out before her, filled with endless possibilities. You know, Sarah mused, back on Earth, we have a saying, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. I guess in this case, it was more like a quantum leap. As the celebration continued around her, Sarah couldn't help but feel a sense of excitement for what lay ahead. Humanity's adventure among the stars was just beginning, and if her time at the Galactic Academy had taught her anything, it was that the universe was full of surprises, and humans were more than ready to face them. In the years that followed, the galaxy would come to know humans not just as inhabitants of the Deathworld, but as invaluable allies, innovative problem solvers, and friends. The Galactic Academy would see a surge of human applicants, eager to follow in Sarah's footsteps, while alien exchange students began to arrive on Earth, each cultural exchange bringing the diverse species of the galaxy closer together. And Sarah, she went on to become one of the most respected case diplomats in the Galactic Federation, bridging gaps between cultures and finding innovative solutions to cosmic-scale problems. But no matter how far she traveled or how much she achieved, she never forgot the lessons learned during that first chaotic semester at the Galactic Academy, where a simple restart and a bit of human ingenuity changed the course of galactic history. As for Professor Zilks, he finally did learn how to shake hands properly, though he still insisted on wearing rubber gloves, just in